Well, I think the problem is that not many people actually had plans to mitigate the impact of this particular event. Rather interestingly, you can look up on the World Economic Forum on the 15th of January, they published a report of major risk issues ahead in 2020. 10 most likely and 10 that would have the biggest economic impact. A global pandemic didn't appear in the 10 most likely, and it was number 10 out of 10 of the one that was going to have the most likely economic impact. So it's fair to say that with the exception of Bill Gates in 2015, we didn't see this coming. So having said that, what we did have is lots and lots of things to do to sort of more generally deal with risk. And I think generally, certainly from the perspective of the private equity industry, we reacted very quickly and we were able to stem some of the damage, to put in place recovery strategies very quickly, sometimes providing liquidity support. So overall, I think we were able to react fairly quickly, although, I think in hindsight, we might have been able to see it coming a little bit more. I think one of the key things we've all learned is the ability to be able to do things remotely, because we had no choice. We were all sort of sent home at relatively short notice, and you had two choices. You either sort of threw your arms up and said the sky is falling, or you got on with it. And I think our industry has done a pretty good job of getting on with it. So we were able to, through technology, perhaps 15, 20 years ago, we wouldn't have been able to do this because the technology wasn't there, but thanks to Teams and Zoom and various other online providers are available. But we can all communicate 24/7 globally. And I think we've become much more comfortable with communicating on this basis. The other thing that we did as an organization is we very quickly tried to pool resource and know-how. So we got a number of the major consulting firms and major advisory firms together and asked them to perform on a pan portfolio basis. So rather than each portfolio company having to reinvent the wheel in isolation, we use the technology, we used expertise to bring us all together. So when we had a solution to a problem, whether it was managing government furlough, accessing loan schemes, or just practical health and safety and day-to-day operations, we could share that across the portfolio and come to conclusions quickly. Well, the one thing I think is very, very clear that none of us can do is we actually can't see the future. We proved that to be absolutely the case. The other thing I'm always amused by is the concept of these once in 100-year events, because on the basis that we last had a major pandemic almost exactly 100 years ago, so perhaps that should have gone off in someone's mind. I think, oh, perhaps we should be thinking about that now. But I think the challenge for us now is to avoid rear view mirror risk management. We can learn a lot from the past, but in order to really genuinely manage risk, you do need to have some form of feeling of what might be the risks coming down the path. Interestingly, in the World Economic Forum, the things they did identify were climate change and very significant weather. Now we know that's coming, and so shame on us if we get caught by that one. So I think you've got to be. You can learn from the past, but if you only spend your time learning from the past, you almost certainly will be hit by something that you didn't expect. There's an element we can't see the future, but we've got to have a good go at it. I think it is. Because it's a known risk that is coming towards us, and so if you can't manage for known risks, then you're very, very unlikely to be able to manage for unknown ones. So I mean, the very baseline of risk management is deal with the known knowns. It's coming. Why don't we just deal with it?